There's no doubt about it. Self-help is a billion-dollar industry. It's making book authors rich and providing a lifetime of work for therapists, consultants, counselors, and life coaches. But is it working?
Yeah, well, it doesn't seem that way, Mark. Divorce rates are rising instead of falling. We're taking more psychiatric medications rather than less. We still have major problems with crime and violence, and children's aids workers' caseloads are maxed out. Now, it would seem we care about ourselves, we love ourselves, and perhaps that's the problem. Perhaps we've been helping ourselves far too long.
Theo Selles operates a team-building and staff development business called Integrity Works. He's a family therapist of close to 20 years, and he's the author of a self-help parody book, Selfishness Matters, Getting What You Want Without Having to Care. Theo, a lot of people think Dr. Phil is bang on. He's the bomb. Why do you think his approach is wrong?
Well, I think that he is just offering more of the problem. I think the whole obsessiveness with self-help, self-development, self-analysis is really creating more of an interest in yourself, and that certainly isn't any help to having a healthy relationship.
So you think we spend too much time thinking about ourselves and we overthink things and we overanalyze things?
We're really good at being able to love each other. We're fascinated with ourselves. What we really need to do is get better at loving other people.
You say actually that the self-help industry is doing more harm than good. Can you expand on that?
Well, I think that what it does is it contributes to this idea that happiness is through self-discovery, and the best way to love someone is to love yourself. And I know that's a truism, and I kind of grew up with that. But then one day a professor of mine asked me whether or not I really thought that that was accurate. Do I know that for sure? And I started questioning, you know, is it possible that maybe the best thing to do is to be able to learn to love others better, and then maybe focus on developing relationships that way?
We really are a narcissistic society, and I know so many people who read all of these self-help books. What happened? When did we become a society so self-absorbed?
I don't necessarily think it's a societal issue. I think it's just a personal issue. I think we naturally grow up, you know, in our own world. We experience other people being in our own world. Like right now, as I'm talking to you, you experience me as being part of your world. And I think our struggle is to be able to experience ourselves as being part of someone else's world and really be able to empathize with their thoughts, their feelings, their needs, and be able to be there for them as opposed to hope that they're there for us.
But Theo, let's be honest. How in this world today with Twitter and Facebook, and we're talking about ourselves and giving status updates and falling victim to new technology, how can we not be so self-absorbed?
I think that's the reason why Twitter has caught on so well. I think that we have this idea that people are fascinated by the minutiae of our life. We have like a bowel movement. We have to tell people about it. We have like 50 million tweets going out every day. And the interesting thing about it is that the stats say 71% of those tweets get ignored anyway. Tweets, to my mind, are just another avenue that people have been able to use to not listen to each other. It's a reflection of our self-absorption.
Do people like to play the role of victim?
I don't know if people like to play the role of victim. I think there's a comfort in that, and I think that there is a lack of an impetus for change. I mean, if you really believe that other people are responsible for your happiness and that other people have to change in order for you to be in a relationship, I think it's a lot more comfortable than being able to take accountability and say, like, what do I need to do differently in order to be there for other people?
Theo, I know that one of maybe the most successful series of self-help books is Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Right.
And I've read some of it, and some of it makes sense and some of it doesn't, but
right.
The fact that there's always a new Chicken Soup for the Soul about this and about that going on, I mean, it's almost as a society we can't get away with the fact that these books are saying to us, you're not perfect, but we can certainly help get you there or make you a better person, as if we're all flawed to begin with.
Right. No one's perfect, and I think there isn't anything wrong with looking within to see if you can be a better person. I guess my point is that perhaps that analysis shouldn't start just between ourselves, me and me, but maybe it's more about me and the relationships that I have. So in my counseling, for instance, I suggest to people if they want to make changes, the best way to know if they've really effectively changed is whether or not they can ask someone who loves them that they're in a relationship with, whether that person's actually noticed them changing, right? So it has to be visible and it has to be meaningful to the people that you're having relationships with.
You're going to be in Hamilton this evening. We're going to give a shout out here. It's Brian Prince Bookseller on King Street West, 7 o'clock to sign copies of your new book, Selfishness Matters, Getting What You Want without having to care. Theo Selles, best of luck with the book. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
When we come back, our viewers talk about the minimum wage in Ontario and violence in hockey.
We'll hear from the Square Off Nation in just 2 minutes with your comments, so stay with us.
This program